Welcome to Channel 18 once again. Today our guest is Richard Houston. He is a history teacher at the Harwich, or now the Memorial High School.
Monomoy region, but still Harwich High for another year and a half.
Another year and a half. Yeah. And so Rich is going to talk a little bit about his running the marathon, and we're going to get into that in a bit. But we're going to begin by a few questions, a little bit about history. So what kind of history do you teach?
I teach several courses. One is the Advanced Placement U.S. History class, which is for most part juniors who are taking a national exam to earn college credit. I also teach some of the required core classes. Right now we have, for the sophomores and juniors, they take a 2-year sequence called America and the World. So we teach American history in the global perspective, and so I have some sophomore and junior classes who are taking that required course. We have a 4-year history requirement. And I also teach an economics elective, in which I've been lucky enough to get the help of Channel 18 over the years, when Jill has often filmed our economics students competing in this contest called the Federal Reserve Challenge, which we have coming up again later this spring.
Now, what is that, the Federal Reserve Challenge?
This is a competition in which students essentially pretend they're the Federal Reserve Board, and they come up with a presentation and compete with one another as to who's recommending the best monetary policy to handle our current economic conditions. And then we have a number of local professionals who volunteer to serve as judges, and they ask follow-up questions to grill the students to make sure they really know what they're talking about. So it's a great little exercise in understanding what they're facing in the real world of the economy.
That sounds very interesting, yes. Okay. And now do you want to get us into this marathon business?
Yes. I've been running the Boston Marathon for most years since I first entered the race back in 1979, and this will be, if I'm able to get through the marathon this year, this will be my 25th official finish. I also ran it on a couple of occasions with my wife, who was also a runner back in our younger days, and we ran the marathon together a couple of times, the two of us. This year, the little bit of a twist is I'm doing it as a fundraiser for the Dana Farber Cancer Institute. Mm-hmm. So part of the reason why I've joined you today is to make sure the community knows that we have this fundraiser going on, and so that people who choose to help out will have the information available in order to support the cause.
Why have you chosen this year to do the Dana Farber Cancer Foundation?
Well, it was a number of things that came together. I guess it's partly that cancer has affected my family in particular. All these years I've been running the marathon, my mother was always my greatest fan, and until she got sick with cancer, I don't think she missed a single year of getting out there on the marathon course on Patriots Day and cheering me along. And sadly, back in '04, she was claimed by lymphoma. And for the long marathon battle that she had with this killer, the folks at Dana Farber did a fabulous job of taking care of her. And I've also had my own bouts with melanoma, and was also treated at Dana Farber. And in fact, on a few occasions, my mom and I would make our appointments at the same time so we could have lunch at the Dana Farber cafeteria after our respective appointments. I'm originally from Worcester, which is where my folks lived and still live, and so we'd come from opposite ends of the state and meet at Dana Farber. So this year I decided to do the marathon as a fundraiser. Dana Farber has been doing this for many years. They have a whole team of marathon fundraisers in the Boston area, Central Mass, around the state, who seek support from those who support the cause of Dana Farber, and they use it as one of their major fundraisers every year. So given the good work that Dana Farber has done for my family and the connection, their long connection to the marathon, I wanted to jump on the team and support them this year.
Very good. Now, how can somebody contribute?
Well, one of the things that Dana Farber does to support the runners is that they have each of the volunteer fundraisers has their own runner team website at the Dana Farber web address. I believe Jill's going to have that put on the screen, but it's rundfmc.org. That's Run Dana Farber Marathon Challenge.org. And then there's a runner entry. You can just put the name, Richard Houston, and it'll call up my website, and it allows anyone who wants to contribute to go right onto my website, see my goals, make their contribution. There's also, for those people who prefer not to make a donation online, you can also go to that site and print out a paper form that you can just fill out and send in along with your donation. So there's several different ways. I would even invite people to give me a call, 774-487-1304. I think Jill will also scan that across the screen. And so people should feel free, if they'd just like to make a donation directly to me, I'm happy to just swing by and either take a check or whatever way people want to be helpful. But I'd greatly appreciate any support the community could provide, and it's obviously Dana Farber is world-class center, helping not only my family, but I'm sure many families have benefited from not just their medical care, but all the research they do up there as well.
We do a lot of good research, right? How long have you been teaching at Harwich High School?
I've been teaching 35 years in total, the last 19 at Harwich. I taught up in the Worcester area before I moved down here at St. John's High School. And that was probably my St. John's experience, and I went to Holy Cross College. That's what first got me into the running. Okay. And it was during my years running as a competitive athlete in high school and college that first got me connected to the marathon. And it was the first year after I graduated from Holy Cross that I started getting into this this excellent activity. Sometimes it does make you wonder.
Yeah, I can see your point there. Well, you're certainly well prepared, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, I very much appreciate you having me on, and once again, thanks ahead of time to the community, and appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.